Let's talk about the time I almost got human trafficked right here in Orlando. Hey y'all, so today, let me give you a disclaimer. First of all, I was being very stupid. I made a lot of dumb moves while all this was happening. Thank God I happened to have someone there with me at the time to kind of help me through all the craziness. Let's get into this story time. So, as some of you guys know, some of you that know me personally, you know that I am a hairstylist. One of the great things about being a hairstylist is that every year we get a annual convention for hair. We learn all these amazing great things. It's a huge convention. People go to it every year. It's in Orlando. Well, the one that is for us is located in Orlando. So I make it a point to go every other year when things are fresh and new and all that good stuff. This particular time, I decided that I wanted to go by myself. I was kind of like just coming off, I think like my second solo trip, and I was feeling extra confident and feeling like, oh, okay, well, I want to do this by myself. I decided to drive up to Orlando. Let me back it up a little bit. As time got closer to me leaving, I originally had plans to go by myself, but at the very last minute, my best friend, who at the time was, he was just kind of hanging out. He was in between jobs and didn't have a whole lot to do. I decided, okay, well, let me invite him to come along with me just so that we can kind of hang out and someone that would kind of help me take the drive because I had never driven that far. For some of you that don't know, I live in South Florida. It takes maybe about, I don't know, roughly 3 to 4 hours to get to Orlando driving time. For me, that was long because I had never done that before. I asked my friend if he could accompany me on this trip. He agreed to go. We decided to book a room at this boutique hotel because the price was good. It was a random trip and I had very little money, so I just needed somewhere to stay. So we found this boutique hotel. It was comfortable enough, it was clean. It didn't look, it did look a little sketchy. It looked a little sketchy. Not sketchy enough for me not to just lay my head down and get up and go for this convention. So we get there, everything works out fine, and we're on our last day of this trip. So for the very last day of the trip, we only stayed a half day, but I paid for a full day. I say this to bring it up later on in the story. We booked a full day for the half day that we would be there. We decided to, before we left the room, we decided to go get something to eat and bring it back to the room. So we go, I get some sandwich from somewhere, and I'm walking down the hallway while my friend is in the room doing something. I think he was in the bathroom or something. While I'm walking down the hallway, I'm eating this sandwich, and this guy looks out of his hotel room, and he's like, looking at me. You know how you can feel somebody looking at you? Like, I wasn't even turned around before I felt like, oh shoot, somebody's watching me. Happened to turn around, this guy's like standing there with his head out of the window looking at me. So he goes, hey, that sandwich that you have looks really good. Me and my wife are trying to find somewhere to eat. Where were you able to find that? Immediately, like, I'm thinking to myself, we're in Orlando. Like, you could throw a rock and hit a restaurant in this place. Like, there are so many restaurants in Orlando to pick from. Why are you asking me about a sandwich that I'm standing like a couple feet away from you? You can't even see what exactly I'm eating. It's no reason to have asked me that. It was very random, and it was just random. At the time, it's so weird when you don't listen to your gut, but I'll talk about that later. At the time, I knew like it was awkward that he asked me that, but at the same time, I was just like, okay, well, I'm going to be nice about it. Maybe he didn't mean anything by it. So I was like, oh, I went to Fridays and whatever. That's where I found it. He closes the door. Mind you, I haven't seen the wife. I didn't hear any woman or nothing. So, but I didn't think about that at the time. As I was walking up to the concierge desk, there's this chick sitting on, like, they have like a couch area. She's crying. She's frail looking. She looks maybe a little roughed up or something, and not as clean, like she's been on the road for a couple days or something. So she's crying, like bawling, crying. And at first I'm like, my friend is standing next to me and I hear her and I'm looking at him like he knows that I want to ask so bad what's wrong. He knows, and he's just looking at me. He didn't say anything, but he's giving me this unusual look that I haven't seen him give me before, where he's kind of just like just staring at me. Later on I find out that he's staring at me because he's thinking, I know you're not going to do that. You're not going to do that. But anyway, so I decide to go ask the girl what's wrong. Like, why are you crying? She tells me, oh, well, I kind of ran away from home and I'm on the road with some friends, and my friends kind of abandoned me here. They took my things and left the hotel room in a van and they left. While the story was very odd, I was still being super sympathetic towards her, and I knew I had the room for her. I was going to be in the room for half a day and I was going to leave. So I told her, listen, this room is paid for the night. If you want, just stay in the room for the night and I'll write down some women's homes. You have the phone here, call to figure out a transportation situation or something. Because originally I think she was trying to get a ride out of us, but with that, I was really like, no, that's not going to happen. Like, I don't know if you're going to have someone follow us. I don't know what's going on with that. So, I told her, look, you can stay in the room. In the meantime, we hadn't left the room yet and she's still out in the lobby. This is where it gets really stupid, y'all. Like, y'all gonna judge me because I was really, really, really dumb. I could have got easy. So I told her, look, come on into the room. Because me and my friend, we had ordered pizza, we had chicken, we had drinks, we had a lot of stuff in there. Not drinks as in alcohol, but like juice and whatever. So we had a lot of stuff in our room, and she looked like she hadn't eaten in days. So I told her, come to the room. You can have the room. Grab you something to eat, hang out a little bit, freshen up, take a shower, get yourself together and stuff. And while you're doing that, I'll write down the women's homes. Cool. So she comes into the room and she looks like a little bit uneasy. So all of this is going on and I'm watching how she's maneuvering, how she's walking, how she's talking to me, her body language. She looks very, very like, I think I'm doing something wrong type of thing, like guilty almost of something. So all of this is happening, and I think the only reason that I was ignoring all of this was because my friend was with me, and I'm like, oh, well, he's gonna protect me. In the back of my mind, I'm thinking, oh, he's gonna protect me. But ladies, please, if you have a friend, do not put your friend in any form of danger because you think that, oh, because he's a guy, he's gonna protect me so I can make decisions to make this move. Don't do that, because that puts people in a very bad position. My friend at the time didn't tell me in the moment that he was uncomfortable, but I can see it in his face, and he almost looked immediately like defensive. So I could have put him in a bad position and gotten him hurt because I was being stupid. So that's just a little side note. But anyway, back to the story. We're in the room. I tell him, listen, I have to go use the bathroom really quick. So just stay out here with her and watch like what's going on and everything with her. In the meantime, he did kind of whisper in my ear, hey, this doesn't seem right. Something seems wrong about this. But I let it go. He's out in the I guess the room. I'm in the bathroom doing whatever it is that I'm doing. And finally I come out. The girl is knocked out sleep. Like she looked exhausted, but she was kind of in and out of sleep. So we're in the room, which made it like really awkward. Thank God it was 2 beds there because it was very weird. We were, I guess, packing up to leave, and I had to go back to the concierge for something. Go back to the concierge, and this same guy, he's like at the desk doing something. So he's just fidgeting around and whatever. And then he looks at me and he says, oh, I really love your hair. Who did your hair? Where'd you get it done? And I'm thinking, God, that's random. Like, okay. So I tell him thank you. I do it myself. I'm a hairstylist, whatever. And then he says a couple more things, and then I leave. Really, he's still at the desk, but I leave, which makes me wonder if like the concierge had anything to do with him. I don't know, because when they're doing that human trafficking thing, if they have a place to do it in, they'll pay the people off, and the people won't have anything to do with what's going on. They just pay them off to handle their business in the location. That's what I'm assuming. So I'll go back to the room. I write down a list of the women's homes, and she's sitting there eating. At that point, she's awake and everything. And my friend still got this crazy look on his freaking face, but he's not saying anything. So we're done packing up. At this point, we're walking out of the door to go to leave. We go ahead, sign out or check out, and we walk outside to go to the car. And this same dude pulls up in this gold van, and he's like, "Hey, do you guys need a ride anywhere?" Just random as hell, completely random. So we're like, "No, we don't need no damn ride from you. We're fine." Sorry, my dog is like in the picture. "We don't need no ride from you. We're good." We get in my car, and at this point we're driving home, and my friend, he looks at me and he says to me, "You are effing crazy. Like, you have problems. You're out of it. You don't realize how many times you were in danger." He told me something that I didn't even realize in the moment. When the guy, I guess like we must have met again in the hallway, or it may have been the same moment where the guy saw me in the hallway the first time with the sandwich situation. My friend must have at some point, like, it was all such a blur. It was crazy. At some point, my friend must have been standing with me or next to me, because as the guy was talking to me, my friend told me that he asked me a question and my friend answered him, and he says to him, "Oh, I was talking to the lady. I wasn't talking to you." I did not hear that, but he somehow heard that. So I must have, like, I don't know if I blanked that out of the whole thing, the conversation. I don't know. But so my friend told me that, which was weird. It was crazy. And he also told me that when I went to the bathroom and he was in the actual room with the girl, that same freaking van was parked up next to our window, like next to the window, like watching us through the window. Y'all, when I tell you, I had never been so, and what's crazy is I wasn't scared while it was happening. I felt uneasy, like my gut was telling me, "Stop doing this, stop doing this, stop doing this," but I wouldn't stop. Like, I kept like persisting to do things for this person that I had no idea who they were, and I don't know why I was doing it. What scared me was the aftermath, like my friend talking me back into the conversation about what actually happened and what I didn't see. So, and my dog's drinking water, y'all. Give him a minute. This is what happens when you have other people and animals in the room while you're filming. We're good? Okay. So yes. So anyway, him telling me the story back was more frightening to me than what I was doing. Oh my God. Okay. Him telling me the story back was actually more frightening than me living the story, because it showed me that I was being very absent-minded. I was not paying attention to my surroundings. I was not paying attention to the situation. I was not listening to my gut feeling, my natural instinct telling me that, hey, you're kind of in danger right now. There were red flags going off everywhere, and I persisted to ignore it. I told you guys this story time not to scare you. Please do not get scared, because these things can happen whether you're paying attention or not. However, this was a huge learning lesson for me. I never conducted myself the same way again while traveling or doing anything where I am interacting with other people. It's sad to say that a good heart can get you in some serious shit. Just to be quite honest, I hate to say it, but when you're alone, you can't help people. You can't do anything for people necessarily that you don't know, that is a stranger to you, because that can be a setup. Now, I did all that stuff for that girl, and I don't know I don't know what happened, but I felt like they were working together. Maybe she belonged to him, or she might have been trafficked herself, and he was controlling her. What I want to believe is maybe she was homeless, and he kind of picked her up off the street, and this was her job, to work with him in this way. And it's like, you don't know who you're running into. You have no idea. Moral of the story is simply to just, first of all, more than anything, listen to your gut. Listen to yourself. If your body is telling you something ain't right, something ain't right. and just pay attention. So I just wanted to give y'all that little bit of story time as my first story time, because it was super important to me, and that was probably one of the wildest things that ever happened in my life during travel. And I felt like that's something that you all needed to know, because I don't want any women or men, really, because it can happen to anybody. I don't want anybody to end up in that situation. That was my story to you all, for you all to know. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment if this video kind of opened up your eyes a little bit or helped you in any kind of way for the future. Please, if you can, tell me a time where you felt like super duper duper uncomfortable in a situation, how you got out of it, down below. Let's chat a little bit. Let's have an open conversation about this particular subject, because it happens all the time, and it can happen in your own backyard. This is not a third world country problem, so we need to get that stigma out of our minds. This happens right here at home all the time. Let's discuss about this stuff, and see what we could get that might help the next person to avoid a situation like this. I'll chat with y'all later. Bye.